Well, we're gonna start in how it all started, my travels to India, to Hamirpur. Okay? This is really a neat story. This was sometime in the 1980s. And I had taken Alaba to Mexico, I believe it was the year of 1986. So it must have been the following year, or maybe right around sometime in the early 80s. So I'm sitting right next to Alaba and for a Martithi. And the Mandali decided, especially with the input from Alaba, that I should go to Baba's Heart, Hamirpur, and see other places too of India. I have no knowledge of this. I frankly could care less. I just went there to stay at Baba Samadhi. But anyhow, the Mandali decided that for me, especially with Alaba's input. He says, Tony should go and see India. So this is on the 30th of January of the following year, more than likely. And so I'm sitting on the tent shed, and there's all, we're just watching the Samadhi, because I sat with Alaba all the time, right in that place. And then he said to me, Tony, there's a man called Shaligram Sharma. He is from Meherpuri, Hamirpur, and he's going to be your guide and take you all around India. So I am telling myself, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't come over here to travel around India. What is there to see there? Anyhow, Sharmaji goes in the queue, greets Alaba. They had a pretty large queue all the time. All the Mandali did in those early days. And then I'm sitting on the left side of Alaba. It's on the right and on the left of the corner of the tent shed. So enough for two people. Is that lovely enough? Okay. So then Shaligram Sharma comes. I don't know anybody by Shaligram Sharma. I had never heard of Meherpuri or Andhra Pradesh or any of these places. So anyhow, this is the time of the Kumbh Mela or Kumbh Mela in India. And most of the trains are being occupied by the Kumbh Mela. And there's not too many trains running from Ahmednagar to go to other places. So they introduced me to Shaligram Sharma. I don't know who he is or anything like that. And they says, he's to take you right after Amartithi or before. Right after Amartithi, and you go see India. So I'm scratching my head, go to India? What the heck when I want to go there? So I have to find, Mark Palmer used to go there. And Mark Palmer, his father owned a paint shop. And he was very frugal with his money because his father only gave him a certain paycheck. And from that, he had to go to India and all that. So he had his socks all raggedy and, with holes and God knows. But he was the funniest guy in the world. I've yet to meet a match to him. Even on his deathbed in here, he says, I'm looking for my next parents for my next incarnation and so on and so forth. Everybody knows Marky. He was from Chicago at that time. So, so me and Sharmaji says, you go with Sharmaji and talk. So I went with, as Alaba said, we went to talk and says, well, Mr. Sharma, because that was his name, Shaligram Sharma. I don't know who he is. I don't have a clue. But later on I get a clue that outside of Baba's Mandali, he is the #1 person in all of India. That he traveled around from Baba Center to Baba Center to Baba Center by the tons. And he wrote Meher Pukar. There was a publication called Meher Pukar that was translated into English by the press in Mirastana, and I'll tell you the name of the press, Pukar's Press. So the magazine was called Meher Pukar, after Pukarji. In any case, I'll tell you a little bit of background about Shaligram Sharma so everybody begins to understand and get a whiff of who he was. In the year of 1962, he goes to Guru Prasad from Nehru Baba's darshan, as usual. In the summertime, everybody is dressed in their whites and so on and so forth. And he was the only honest judge in Hamirpur. He was the judge. And he was a friend of Prakash Panchal and all those. Everybody knew Sharmaji. So now, I don't know this yet. So then he relates a story to me of what happened in the year of 1962. He says him and the Hamirpurians came to take Baba's darshan, as well as many other groups from all over the place at Guru Prasad Palace. So he's got one request from Mayor Baba. So Sharmaji's turn comes. Baba's well acquainted with them through correspondence and maybe prior viewings and all of that. But this is the story. And he says, Baba, when he comes in there, thinks Baba's darshan, Baba, like this. And he says, Baba, I have one request from you. I want to surrender my life to you. And Baba, in a very pensive mood, is looking at him. And then Baba's going like this. He says, do you know what you're asking? These people have been for me for a lifetime. And you're talking about surrender. They're just talking about obedience now. And look at this Bao Kalchuri. He's so difficult. And look at this Alba. He's so difficult. And the only one that I kind of like a little bit, but a lot, because he was my best friend, Gustaji, from Ingota. That's on the western side of, and we get one story, because nobody's heard that, because it refers to all of that. So, and Baba says, impossible, these people been with me. And he says, Baba, please, I request you again. And Baba says, what can I do? I'm helpless. Error just translated. But he understood Baba's gestures and everything too. And again he says, Baba, please. So Baba says, I have to think about this. You stand in front of me. And then after a few minutes pass by and the crowd was getting anxious and so on and so forth, they want to take Baba's darshan. Baba raises his hands with two fingers like this, and he says, God has heard your request. Your request, brings down his hand, is granted. And there was a thunder light inside of Guru Prasad that everybody felt it. The place was electrified. It says, God has heard your request. Your request is granted. He didn't say, Mayor Baba's heard your request. So his heart is full of contempt. This tells everything about Shaligram Sharma in a nutshell. But he becomes my constant friend and companion, and we travel around India like about 30, 40, 50, I don't know how many times. And we used to go to these places like, let's say, down to these places where Baba's birthday was celebrated 264 days a year on top of a roof house. And that was in, I'll tell you the name of it, because it's a very famous place in India. It'll come back to me in a minute. So this is someone I traveled with. And then we left on, so we go to the railway station, and I request 3 tickets. 2 second class, because there was no first class, and 1 third class for Mark Palmer. So we go inside to where the people are not the ticketing people, but the bosses, were requested to talk to him. And he says, well, sir, this is impossible. We got the Cumela. That's the first gift that I got. There was a Cumela traveling. So most of our trains are booked. It's really impossible. So I said, sir, just in case, when the smell is over, or maybe before, I'm gonna pay you for 2 second-class tickets and 1 third-class ticket for Marky Palmer. Because I'm not in a budget, but why should I treat him? And so it's done. So the next day, I'm sitting with Alaba in the queue. There's a few peoples, and there's a few people that are vaguely seen. And these are the train masters. All of them came to take Baba's darshan. And they go, Mr. Tony Griss, yes. What can I do for you? After they talk to Alaba, embrace and so on and so forth. I don't know if there were Balos or not. I doubt it. The train master, and it's a compliment. And then he says, well, I'm dumbfounded because there were 3 cancellations, 2 second-class cancellations, and 1 third class. And we don't want you to go there and pick up your tickets. So we brought your tickets with us because today is the 31st, and here's your change. For the first. And I'm going, wow, Italians, brother. Another one you pull, because it was impossible. So they told us. Anyhow, so we went to the city of Rob, which you heard about it. I had excluded Sharmaji so I could tell you this one story about who he was. And little by little, I'm getting to know this. So we left Rod, and we're going to Naranga. And we went on the bullock cart and so on and so forth, And in Naranga, Sharmaji says, Tony, you have to give a talk. He wants me. And it says, and I says, well, this is my good friend, and he's really a buffer for me because I never spoken in front of a public. Okay, Mark Palmer is going to be my buffer because I can't think of what to say. So we arrive on the tractor trailer in Naranga. There's a beautiful photograph in there because Bob is alive. What transpires in Naranga in those days, you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you, but it's the honest truth. So the first thing is that we're going to meet Babu Ram Prasad. He's the head of the group. Okay, so then he translated from Hindi to English and so on and so forth, vice versa. The first thing that he says, when Baba came to Naranga, because there was a tree that, we're going to get to that story, that would not allow Baba to pass in the year of 1950 to a sacred Bodhi tree. Big tree, humongous tree. Then we'll go back to the tree. And he says, Baba said to me, Babu, I am jealous of your love for me. First time I heard that he tells Babu Ram Prasad that he's jealous of his love for him. Huh? Mayor Baba saying I'm jealous? When he tells me, he says, what kind of people are this? I know now that I'm going to what is called Baba's heart. And anyhow, it doesn't dawn on me too much. Then there was a big square in Naranga where they have all kinds of photographs of Mayor Baba with historical events that transpired, and not at that time, but who Mayor Baba was and so on and so forth, And they're all around this big courtyard. And then Sharmaji says, well, Tony, get ready for some speech. Think of it. And I'm dumbfounded. I don't know what I'm gonna say. And then the next morning, around 10 o'clock in the morning, there was about 230 plus or minus people that had met Mayor Baba. I'm an infant. I never got to meet the beloved, and frankly, it didn't matter to me. Because what is God realization? To me, it's just something that I'm doing, okay? I don't want that, you know. In any case, so, Sharmaji talks in Hindi, you know, typical of that area, so they can understand. I says, well, Tony, just sit over here in this chair and say something. I says, Mark, tell a few jokes. I gotta think of something, you know. So Marky does a good job for me. And after 5 minutes or so, he says, okay, Tony, that's enough of that, you know. With some laughter, because they had Shaligram not to translate it, and it doesn't quite come out the same either way. So I don't know what happened to me, but I remember Bauji, and Bauji had questions and answers as my way out. So I asked questions. I said, anybody has any questions for me? Yeah, a few hands went up, quite a few, I guess, or some. And he says, well, how is it, Tony? I just translate, that you come from the West, and there's advanced medicine, good education, and all these amenities, good transportation that we don't have in here. How is it that you come to this place? What a question. But somehow Baba takes over. And I said, sir, it is this way. Whether you're in the West, whether you're in the East, or wherever you might be, we're all like birds in a cage. And God, Meher Baba manifested himself, and he opened up the cage for us, and we flew free as the wind into the arms of his love. We are free. So what does Jesus come to do with all of us? It doesn't matter where you come from, or if you have not a good education system, you're no good medical facilities, and we have everything. Everything means nothing. It's only the freedom to be with Meher Baba and know about him that really counts. Good. And then other questions with their basically beautiful replies. I don't know that I can do that. It's sort of like Baba takes over, or something takes over, I should say. But it certainly wasn't anything in my noodle. Okay, so how does Meher Baba Ki Jai started? For those who don't know. Well, in the year 1952, Baba said, we'll get to that later, or maybe we'll bypass it, because it's going to be too long. Baba said, I cannot, you know, they build all those roads and the jungles, and Baba almost had this accident in there, you know, where it was going over a cliff, and then the truck is going to go over the cliff, you know, and Baba said, shoot like this or something, as Erich explains it, and the truck didn't go. And then they put him back on those funky roads, you know, just where the bullet carts go by, and they made it down to where they were going, which was in Goka. And, Aranga. And knowing this, Baba didn't go there to 1954. So there's telegrams back and forth. And the telegrams from the Hamirpurians say this: Baba, what can we do? Those people are always mocking us. because we're always saying J Baba, J Baba, J Baba to everyone that we meet and greet. All between us Baba lovers, and sometimes we say to those people, what is the dilemma? And Baba sends his reply, stop. From now on, no more J Babas. That's how the J Baba started, not prior, not after. And then what transpired, that all those people mocking J Baba, J Baba, J Baba, you know, and this other guy, because it's the land of Ram. Rams lived in exile in that place, just very nearby, 40, 50 kilometers in big Ram Teke, you know. And I went to hundreds of places on my own and with Sharmaji, just to see and educate myself as to Hinduism. So don't ask me anything about Hinduism because I'm worse than a book. If you're having a time in here, you know, like I know who this and where Ganesh and Kalimata, the Divine Mother, and all these gods and goddesses, you know, but actually it's just one God. It all for him. In any case, Baba's getting ready to come in 1954. And all this J Baba, J Baba, J Baba goes on from the Ram people. So what transpires when Baba arrives? All these people saying J Baba, J Baba, J Baba, all of them without exception become Baba lovers. From saying J Baba, J Baba, J Baba. And then Baba sat by the tree in Naranga. And he says, now this tree lets me pass. There were around 56 homes during the Mela, which started on the 16th of the 11th. Sunday, it was like a 15-day Mela. And normally started in Jhansi, but that was not to count them, that was separate, because Jhansi is not in Hamirpur. And then it goes to Banda, where Shaligram has his daughter married to Dr. Chakrabarti and Dr. Nitu, his son that was educated in Russia. And they know all the Paparia people and the poorest because they have a free clinic for those who can't afford it with free medicine. So they're busy in that place. But that's not to be excluded because I took Marinath with me to inaugurate the center because Marinath never traveled around India. And Bob used to take Marinath with us. Yes, Bob. In any case, so there were all these people. And Bob explained this, and they had a big gathering around the trip, part of the Mela, you know, and then they went to 56 homes where Baba used to stay. They had the photographs. I never seen a Mela like this in my life. And people throwing flowers from the roofs, thousands of flowers, as Baba was on a little thing like this with bicycle wheels on it, big wheels, you know, and through procession from house to house to house that he had visited. And there were 56 of them. I used to know most of them were alive at that point. And it was a glorious time. What happens for the Mela? They have horses, and those horses dance, as well as the villagers that were celebrating from all over the place, following the Mela. And then the music starts bum, 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 bum before the procession. There's about 30, 40 chickens in there. So what happens? The horses start doing a thing like this with their legs dancing, and the chickens begin to dance. Have you ever heard of anything like that? Chickens dancing to the tune? And I'm a witness to that. Who the heck's going to believe that there's chickens dancing? It so happened. So they followed the procession up to very far, and then the chicks came back because I guess they were not familiar with where we were going. In any case, went to those 56 homes and so many things. Well, one interesting happened in Naranga, that they used to have 24 hours a day, every second. It doesn't exist anymore. They were taking Baba's name 1 hour at a time with a 10-minute tap on somebody's shoulder, and they had a clock. And everybody's going, Baba, 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 concentrating. They're not flying around like the Westerners, like myself, I should say. I can't repeat Baba's name for 3, 5, 10 minutes, and I'm, freaked out, thinking about the world and whatever comes. But these people are of a different sort. And this is why Baba called it his heart. So I'm watching this, I'm dumbfounded. Baba's name's taken on the clock and the clock and the clock. And in those names, a popular name in the Hamirpur district, as well as other districts, is Nigam. The Nigams are everywhere. Until today, maybe Mr. Nigam from Marastana hasn't passed away. But I knew so many Nigams, And then right in Marastana by his Samadhi, by Baba Samadhi, which I saw, the first thing that I saw was like a hut like this, made out of adobe. And I tell you, I could see Baba's face everywhere. Now it's got another enclosure to keep it away from doing that. And the materials from the original hut, were used in it. But at the time, there was none. Anyhow, that was basically what I wanted to say about Naranga. And from Naranga, we went to Meripuri, Shaligram's home. So we can start there and go up towards other places. So, it was a beautiful place. And I already told you the story about the man that was constructing the cement, and how he wanted to be there for the rest of his life. And his name was another Nigam, now remembering the Nigams. And in any case, Nigam. And I met the Nigams, but this is in Ingota. And the beginning of construction in Maripuri starts with the breaks, and so a humongous place until today. Beautiful, beautiful place. The first thing that went up is a roundish thing like this, where they got a beautiful Murti of Mary Baba. That means statue. But the statue in Naranga, the villagers requested of Mary Baba that they should have a statue to remember him by. And after all these debates and Baba thinking, Baba said that you only find me in the heart. And that plaque is right in there. So they had someone that come, a master craftsman that did statues, see Mary Baba, and he measured him, and he took his dimensions, everything to a T. And that statue's there with Baba's white saddle and his pink coat, and every day the fresh malas, all beautiful flowers, and Baba's chapels on the side. That's phenomenal. And the things that transpire in Naranga from year to year are beyond the comprehension of the human beings. And I even put a Western toilet, so in case the Westerners should happen to stumble in there. Okay? Not too many have, but quite a few have in the early days. In any case, Maripuri. And Baba said, Sharmaji tells me that when Baba was crossing the Betwa in the launch with his car, and Baba said about the Betwa, this is the Ganges of the future. The old Ganges, as of this day, ceases to exist. When Baba dipped his feet in there, in a place called Ichora, I'm only telling you these extensive stories because most of the new generations of Baba peoples never go there. They don't have the opportunity, they don't have the guide. They're only rushing in to be at the Samadhi for 2-3 weeks, a month or so, 4 or 5 days, and whatever the agenda is. So very few go to Macharpur or Hamirpur. Anyhow, so then we're going to go to Ingota, which I've already told you the story about seeing all this money to collect and so on and so forth in Mexico for the Murti or the statue in Ingota. Which came up with, so Bobby sitting on top of his temple, with his, it's a likeness of Mayor Baba, but nothing like most of the statues that I had seen up to the late, like the golden statue of Mayor Baba in Kobur, but nothing matches that one statue or murti from Naranga. And you can touch it, you can feel it, you can walk around there. And I used to just sit there for hours and watch all these hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds of people that go in there and rush them in, rush them out, rush them in, rush them out, along with the Prasan here. And the last time that I went to, there were 20,000 residents in the village. And we arrived late. That was first Yuki's experience, so 100 people. And they put these speakers everywhere. And they announced that I'm going to give a talk or say something about 9 o'clock at night. It's already dark, but the speakers are blaring, and all these people from not heard paid attention because they had heard me by this time so many times. I became quite a good public relations type of person. In any case, the speakers blare off, and boom, 20,000 villagers with their kids probably trying to go to sleep, and God knows they all attended because we left the following morning. So it happened. Now we're going to Ingota. In Ingota, there was a man called Mr. Palibar. And Mr. Palibar was a parliamentarian as well as owner of all these lands. So he thinks in his own mind that he should build the castle because someday maybe a Maharaja will want to go there. Not thinking that it's going to be Mayor Baba where he's staying. And there's this disputes with Mr. Palibar and the landowners and so on and so forth. Baba called them to Marasad and they settled their disputes because it was mainly due to the lands, like still in India, they're not divided properly. Their maps and so on and so forth, they're not valid. I could say that because I've witnessed that. In any case, so I go to Mr. Palibar's palace. Mr. Palibar is no longer alive, but Mrs. Palibar was. And I see this majestic type of a structure, fairly big, with a big veranda and stained glass. I never seen stained glass in India to this day, with a beautiful dome where Baba stayed and so on and so forth, built by Mr. Palibar for the King of Kings. And that king is Mayor Baba. And what a journey. Then after that they have another place, not where Mr. Palibar lives in the palace. Then they have the mela in there with hundreds and hundreds of seats and chairs and somebody making the curries and the simple dal and rice with a puri and tea. That's the essence of their meals. These places and anyhow, so we pass that. And then from that, we're going to Mauda. Mauda is like maybe another 20 kilometers. And in this 20 kilometers, you pass through this town. And also they have a celebration for the Mela, and I'll give you the exact dates of it, okay, pretty soon. And because I never I love to go to the Mela there because you could hear interesting things, and I'm learning Hindi really well by listening. And there was a song, sung by little girls, and all singing about it. Gota. I can feel Bobby in Gota now. Sorry, she says I get emotional. Yes, I know that about my character. In any case, so now we're going to Malda, to the college where Mayor Baba gave all the students and the people from Malda their thing. What's in Malda? Believe it or not, a little statue of Mayor One as a boy, with his socks, with this and the other, and his little outfit, a replica. About this height, maybe about 4 feet high. Yeah. And that's who they worship there. Mayor as part of Mayor Baba in his younger days, and I'll tell you the name of this fellow in a few minutes if I can recall it. And I stayed there on the second story of the building that they were still in their construction, and the little gutters in there with all that sewage type coming up and down and all that, but the atmosphere was really intense. Now, ultimately, when I went the last time with Yuki, they had already changed that to a proper place, the same statue, and now it's got like a big, beautiful dome with a roundish thing, and that's where Marijuana as a boy is. And many, many stories about that. I'll tell you one, because we want to travel through an airport. Maybe we could do it in one session, but there's another one that would be. In any case, where in those early days, there was a mischievous boy that would come out at night and tease everyone and all of that. Who was the mischievous boy? Meher Baba as a boy. That's why they have the Murti of Meher Baba as a boy. And all the stories that he used to go knock on the doors and this and that and let the dogs bark at him and so on and so forth. And it looked like the boy that they're billed as Murti for, and that turned out to be Meher Baba as a boy. Very mischievous, so they say. And I talked to these people. And they told me many different stories about marijuana, as a boy doing this and all of that. That's the reason for that celestial statue of marijuana as a boy. Isn't it incredible? The heart of the Honorporians is beyond the beyond the beyond. How they love Meher Baba. They dedicate their lives to Meher Baba. They think all day about Meher Baba. They go to their chores, like in the fields and all of that, and they're all boom, 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 just taking Baba's name with the blow-up cards, and it's all Baba, 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 as if they're flying around and throwing the atomic bombs in Japan, except this time it's Baba's name. That's the way the Honorporians probably still like that. And I went to the festivals in Malda. Baba was in the college, and he gave darshan, so he got a beautiful platform that Meher Baba had gone there in the year of 1952. Everywhere there's a platform. From there, where do we go? Merastana is where Meher Baba declared that he was the avatar of the age. On February 21st of 1952. I think it's the right date, 21st, I'm not sure yet. At the time, the Mandali, along with the Nigams and the other place that the Nigam, Prakash Nigam, he's the one that's got his tomb up there with Meher Baba is, with a big platform too, because he was Prakash was a very famous guy. That brought that invitation to Mayor Baba to go and so on and so forth. Well, back to Banda. The Mandalis, and most especially the Hamirpurians, wanted to please Mayor Baba with music for all his events. So there was a very famous musician. He was a tabla player from nearby, and I just told you, Banda, notorious in the whole era. That's a run place. And they contract them to come and play only for Mayor Baba the tablas. And at that time, he owns these lands, but what transpired due to the drought, nobody is able to pay any money for his debts for the leases of the lands. His house, the roof falls off and is dilapidated. His wife has got that deadly disease that they used to have, or they have, I'll think of the name, not polio, but it might have been another one that's pretty popular like that, you know, because they didn't have a cure for that in those days. And there's 3 issues, and there was a 4th issue. Well, the wife has got this thing, you know, they haven't paid him his money and all that. And he goes to play for Mayor Baba. And they tell him that Mayor Baba is God in human form. And I heard this from him in Banda, because we had one of the few Baba meetings in Banda, at Shaligram's place, you know, with Dr. Nintum, Dr. Chaturvedi. Very seldom we had Baba meetings. But I went there all the time because Shamaji went all the time. He hardly slept, spent all the time, you know, writing his Meher Pukar and other publications and so forth, and where he was going to go. And he only slept 4 or 5 hours a night. And tea after tea after tea. It was Shamaji, which became 1,000,000 times more better than my own father. He was a father to me, and I was a son to him. And we traveled around dozens of places. Baba's Nazar wasn't me, as he said. As well as Baba's Nazar was on me as or Baba Lewis, as he said. In any case, so this man is very credulous. I think this is very skeptic, because all the Hamirpurians are going to come all and line up like 6, 7, 8, 10 feet deep along the roadside, passing to Marastana. And so he says, I don't believe that this Mayor Baba, they call him Avatar and this and that. No, ram. So he says, I'm going to give him a test. I'm going to stand way in the back of these crowds of people. So he has to come and pass through and tap me in the head 3 times. I don't remember his name. These are stories that people have no comprehension. That's why and including myself, I'm still trying to digest all of this, that it really happened. So Baba's car is passing through, and everybody, Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai and Avatar Mayor Baba Ki, he's headed down to Marastana, where he's contracted to play tablas. And you know the things that transpire in this house. And when I'm through with the story, we go Kalas, we're finished. Because we haven't even talked about Marastana. In any case, Baba's car is passing through, and he tells Eric, stop the car. Gets out of the car, Baba walks through the crowd, and Baba taps him 3 times in the head. Back to the car. So this guy knows he's going to do his best and please God. Convinced. In any case, So Baba declares his avatar of the age. And they're leaving the following day. And, well, maybe the 1 or 2 days. And he tells Erich and Pendu, because Pendu's the money man, tell him that if he'd like to go, he's contracted to go all the way and play tablas from all the way to Jhansi, because Meher Baba was very pleased with him. The guy is thrilled to death. He don't even want 5 cents. So he plays tablas for Baba with his love, and whatever transpired with that man and Baba, it's just Baba's business, until they get to Jhansi. And Baba's very pleased. So, and the man is so happy that he forgets that his wife is ill, that the roof's caved, and so on and so forth. Oh yeah, and the fourth one was the students couldn't pay for his lessons anymore. It was 4. So in any case, torrential rains happen in Banda. And so he don't want to take any money, because Pendu is the money man. I says, give him his monies, plus you add X amount of rupees to that. And tell him just to go back to his home and be happy in my love. So the man gets on the train, going to Banda, and the world comes back to him. The reality. He don't know that there's been torrential rains and so on and so forth, and everything is turning green, and the music goes on. So he gets there, and the first thing that he sees that the roof is fixed. And he's stunned. And he says that all his grains, the little plants are coming up in all the fields, and the people's arrange for the banks to pay him the past debts with the banks of India. It's paid. And the students reapply to pay to play the tablas again. And he knocks on the door, knock. The wife opens up the door, and she's healthy as a horse. I think it was polio that she had, or another disease that kind of island. It's a lung disease or something, but not cancer. Everything happened. All his problems, all his worries were gone. Because Meher Baba is God, and God can do anything as He wishes and as He pleases, and He loves all of us, so our only job is to be present in His presence.